Hey, are you a dividend lover? Because I am. Those things are sweet. So once you've accumulated enough in your portfolio, excuse me, you're wondering how much can I get in a dividend yield? Let's kind of run those numbers real quick here too. I'm going to show you how much you need in dividends to get to around the median income in the country currently, which is about 60K a year. We're sitting here in March of 2025. So again, a lot of factors in there: where you live, cost of living, your behavioral habits with money, and so on. Are you bougie or are you not bougie? So, but anyway, let's try to get around 60K a year. This is kind of what your portfolio needs to be to get there based on your dividend yield. And just for reference, your the S&P currently, S&P 500 currently returns about a 1.5% dividend yield. So again, while you don't want to have your whole portfolio constructed in one way, shape, or form, or have essentially just one position inside of there, that if you just held that alone, for example, you'd have a 1.5% yield currently. Now dividends are literally changing every quarter, for better or worse. So stay on top of this stuff. But for now, here's kind of your rough numbers. So breakdown. If you want to make about 60K a year in purely passive dividends in your portfolio, you need about $3 million, which is that first line item here, at a 2% yield. That's pretty realistic. And meaning, again, you're just going to live in that dividend, which comes in quarterly essentially, and you don't have to sell any of your positions off. So you're not dipping into any of your capital gains. This is a wonderful way to live on them. Now, qualified dividends are taxed, pretty favorably, to be honest. If you're just living on these, and depending what account types you have here and you're distributing from, this is a wonderful tax strategy, is just to live on those dividend yields essentially, and then you're never essentially liquidating any positions inside of there, especially if you're using ETFs, which are pretty tax efficient across the board. You're really minimizing that tax plan. Then you're kicking it down to your beneficiaries, again based on the account type, and they're getting a stepped up basis on it, on all the cap gains along your life period. So it's a wonderful way to plan if this is like a joint or individual brokerage account. Now, this is retirement money, like pre-tax money, IRA, 401k, TSP, traditional. Then you can't avoid that tax essentially when it comes out. But anyways, just a dividend yield here alone on a 2% dividend yield on a $3 million portfolio, that's going to get you 60K a year. So if that's your goal, to live on that dividend yield, awesome. You need about $3 million to do that. Next, if we can get a 3% yield, we're looking at a $2 million portfolio only. Cool. There are plenty of really solid ETFs, more dividend focused ETFs or sectors here in positions that, you can get a 3% yield on it. So if that's your target and you can live on 60K a year, you just need a couple $1 million in your portfolio to pull the trigger essentially on this. 4% yield, you're going to need a $1.5 million portfolio. And then for a 5% dividend yield, you're going to need a 1.2. Now, word of caution here, if you get any higher than dividend yields, you're probably giving up a lot of growth. Or what I'm saying is you might get in a position, not sure it pays you a 5+% dividend yield, but your portfolio size is, might shrink over time too. You might get into something more speculative, or just be wary of that. Again, just for comparison, the S&P 500, which will get you growth over time, obviously, currently spits out about a 1.5% dividend yield. So somewhere between that and 3, maybe 4% is pretty realistic in the world of portfolio construction, to where you get, yes, that dividend yield, but you also don't sacrifice your returns over time too as well, meaning that your portfolio can actually grow above and beyond that. Because if you can live on this dividend yield and your portfolio grows as well too, that means that 2% dividend yield on $3 million portfolio. Now that portfolio shoots up to $4 million over time. And that 2% is even more healthy, meaning you're living on 80K now instead of 60K. So pretty neat. But anyway, that's a dividend model essentially, like how much you need to get to target if you want to purely focus on those dividends based on that yield. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you later.